with conviction that everything would be all right. Nancy couldn't, no, she wouldn't allow her determination for a brighter future to be broken by this officious stranger.
Mrs. Edwards.
The words once again pierced Nancy's well-built defences. Her barriers, which had kept her upright for months, were crumbling. The reality of this God-forsaken war drowning out her fragile threads of optimism. "Is he okay? Please tell me it's okay," was all she could manage, her stomach now churning as she quietly prayed her husband, the man she loved with all her heart, was still alive. The alternative didn't bear thinking about, but here he was, the man with the brown envelope, holding her upright. Nancy wasn't daft. They didn't send sombre, official-looking senior officers carrying a letter for nothing.
"Why don't we go inside?" he suggested kindly. "I think you need to sit down."
No, this was it, the confirmation. "Sit down?" Nancy asked, her voice no more than a murmur.
"I just think you might be more comfortable. I can get you a cup of tea."
Tea, a balm to the soul, restorative, healing. Nancy didn't want any of it. She wanted Bert. She wanted him alive. She wanted him now.
"Come on, let me take you inside, Mrs. Edwards," the officer urged.
Shaking her head, Nancy stood stock still, her feet firmly cemented to the ground. If she moved, if she allowed herself to be ushered into the house, he would have to tell her. He would have to explain what was in that ominous brown envelope, the ones that never revealed anything happy. Maybe that's why they were brown, the shade of gloom. How clever of whoever thought of the colour to coordinate the two. Just like autumn leaves, indicating summer was over and winter was looming. Dark and long, cold nights ahead. No, Nancy couldn't face that. She just couldn't. She wouldn't allow the end of a season, a chapter, the happiest years of her life to be brought to such an abrupt stop. If she stayed rooted to the spot, frozen in time, nothing would change. Everything would be just how it was. Bert would still be doing the job he'd felt compelled to sign up for after war had been declared. She might have hated it, despised the fact he was hundreds of miles away from their little family, but he was alive. And yes, she worried about him, but he would still be out there, doing the right thing. A new letter would arrive soon, a letter from Bert. One hadn't come for weeks, but they were probably just held up somewhere in transit. Nothing to worry about. They would all arrive in a cluster, tied with string, any day now. Isn't that what she had been telling herself? Isn't that what her friends had said too? Betty, Doris, Dolly, even Frank. That's what they'd said. They were all so much more logical than she was, wiser, more astute. They must be right. There was a time when Betty hadn't received a letter from her William for weeks on end, but it had turned out okay. The letters had just gone missing. It was a simple explanation, logical. No need to assume the worst. So this grave man, propping her up, stopping her from falling, shattering into 1,000 tiny pieces on the floor, he was wrong. Maybe he wasn't even real. Maybe this was all a bad dream and she was going to wake up any second now. 20 minutes earlier, she'd been in the welly with her friends from Vickers, reminiscing about how she and Bert had first met and fallen in love. Their chance meeting on the tram when he was working as a conductor, and she didn't have enough change in her purse for the fare. How he'd paid for it himself, asked her out on a date.
"Please, Mrs. Edwards."
There he was again. The man trying to burst her bubble of happiness, pierce all her hopes and dreams. But then her mind drifted to the weeks of sleepless nights, counting the hours until dawn, tormenting herself with 1,000 different and harrowing scenarios. Bert held by German troops or being tortured for information. She'd heard those things were common practice in war,